Right, welcome to it, guys. It's Chronicles of Motion, where we dive into the personalities, passion, and purpose behind South African sport. I'm your host, Steve Saunders, and today, as usual, I've got with me the legend of cycling, Jeremy Maartens. We're going to take a deep dive into high-speed, high-skill world of Criterium Racing today. So this general series, I think we're going to develop a series out of this. We're going to call it Inside the Corners, exploring what makes this style of racing so thrilling, why it's such an important part of cycling development, and what we can expect from the upcoming 226's South African Criterium Festival hosted by Steyn City. That's coming up 1st and 2nd of November this year. So our focus on this one is going to be around that as an example of what Criterium Racing is all about. The man joining me, as I said earlier, Jeremy Maartens. He's race director, coach, and lifelong advocate for competitive cycling. Jeremy, how's things going?
Steve, always lekker. As I said this probably a couple of months ago, I talk to you now like a lot more than I talk to my wife. Yeah, we had a good chat this morning. Had a good alarm. I got in a lekker 10K run this morning, despite some of the hard reading up the hills. But yeah, here we are. Lekker to chat to you again, and lekker to share some information to everyone who's listening out there who's kind of a little bit apprehensive about this particular discipline of the sport and would like to find a little bit more. So here we are to break it down for you and enlighten you about this discipline.
I'm looking forward to this. I've got a series of questions lined up for Jeremy. I have prepped him a little bit so he knows I'm not hitting him from left side. It's going to be about exploring the environment. We're going to let each of the questions let us discuss it as well. And hopefully it's going to stimulate for those listening a few questions as well, a bit of intrigue about it. And hopefully they're going to come join us at these events. Really, Criterium Racing, a very spectator-friendly version of what road racing is, and a great way for athletes to learn the skills of top-end road racing as well. Anyway, let's get into it, Jeremy. I've broken this up into sections. So I'm going to start with section 1, 3 questions in that one. And it's really it's a warm-up and a bit of a context for us and for our listeners as well. So question number 1, Jeremy, for those who might not be familiar, what exactly defines a criterium in cycling terms?
Criterium is a lap-based race. So you find a circuit. Typically in South Africa, you're looking between 1 and about 4Ks, and you race around that set course for either amount of laps or a time-based. But according to UCI rules, I believe it is minimum of 400, maximum of 10Ks. But for intents and purposes in South Africa, we've generally kept between that 1 and 4K range. And back to where we are at the South African Crit Champs this year, we are running on a 1.38, I'm going to call it 1.4K lap, which is going to be based on time, meaning your designated group, you'll either run 20 minutes plus a lap, half an hour plus a lap, 40 minutes plus a lap, or an hour plus a lap.
Yeah, depending on the category. And they're sharing that news as it goes on their social media. It's going onto yours, onto mine, onto Cycling SA Road. So it's going all over the place. How does Criterium Racing differ from the longer road races most riders and spectators are used to? You know, the week before we got the biggest ride we have in Joburg, it's Ride Joburg, and that's going to be on, in fact, it's this coming Sunday, next Sunday, sorry.
Next Sunday, yeah.
And yeah, next Sunday. I've got another event this Sunday. We've got the Meals on Wheels event down in Heidelberg area. That's going to be really cool. The last lead-up race before the Ride Joburg, and then Ride Joburg is going to be the last lead-up race before the SA Criterium Festival. So it's an exciting 3 weeks of racing. But how does Criterium Racing differ from the longer road races most riders and spectators are used to?
Well, Criterium Racing by nature is meant to be short. It's meant to be intense. If you take a race, let's go the Ride Joburg race, the winners are going to take between 2 hours, 10 minutes and 2 hours, 15 minutes. So if you make a tactical error, you do have a lot of time to correct that error. In a criterium, the elites at SA Champs are going to be doing racing an hour. So that's half that amount of time. So your reaction time to correct an error or capitalize on someone else's error is a lot more intense. It requires a lot more thinking. It's a lot more, again, intense. Intense on the speed side, it's intense on the tactical side, intense on the emotional side, intense on the spectator side. And
you've got to be fighting for position all the time, man.
Yeah, you got to hold your position. I would try to equate it. It's almost like a motorbike race on on a track. If there's 40 riders starting in a motorbike race, and you ride a 40 in the back of the queue on your starting grid, it's not the easiest to get up to position number one. And the Criterium follows a similar sort of format. Bike riding skill, bunch awareness. You can feel what's going on around you. You can read the tactics. Yeah, you've got to be a good, smart rider to win a Criterium.
Yeah. So relating to yourself as well, you've had a fair amount of racing experience over the years. I got to race with you for one of your years. We were in the same team. A serious youngster who took on all the challenges. You've raced internationally, you've raced locally, you've raced SA champs, you've run crit events and road race events, pursuits on the track. Give me a little bit of a rundown without feeling like you're bragging, because you do have that right, but a little bit of a rundown. Jeremy Maartens as a cyclist, number one, and then Jeremy Maartens as a event organizer, number two. Go through those quickly.
Yeah, we raced together in, I think it was 1998 for Team of Maartens, and then from there, progressed through the years, raced locally on the international scene, won a couple of races here, then progressed internationally, raced in Team Barloworld, which was the forerunner to MTN Quebec, which was then Data. Raced internationally, won a couple of stage races, raced also quite a fair bit on the track. World champs on the track, Commonwealth Games on the track. But when I was a rider, I always enjoyed the concept of a Criterium. I enjoyed it because it was exciting, it was fast. But truth be told, it was never really within my wheelhouse. Give me a time trial, a long time trial, or go race up a climb. That suited me a little bit better. But the Criterium
was a fun side.
By design, it was the fun side. And ever since I started riding, ever since I stopped riding, and we find ourselves where we do in South African racing, I'm gravitated towards this. This is motorsport of bike racing, especially from a young age. If you bring in youngsters, they learn how to race. Under 11s and 13s, 15s and 17s. If you've got that skill and you know how to race and understand the tactics of it, when you do go to Europe and you do race in those bunches, you'll be a lot more ahead in that advancement, as opposed to riding a 100k fun ride in the middle of nowhere, because you don't learn anything there. Yeah, sure, you suffer, but I promise you, I can write you a week's training program where you'll suffer a lot more than that. You won't learn anything, you'll just learn how to suffer. In a Criterium circuit race, you learn bike racing.
Absolutely. So talking a little bit about that, you've been involved in multiple forms of racing. What draws you towards what that development can be for those riders? You speak about the opportunity to learn, but what is it they're going to learn? What are they going to experience when they do an event like this?
Well, they're going to learn. When I started racing in Europe and racing in some of the bigger races, the first thing that I realized, I thought, Joe, I'm not out of my depth here, but I'm behind. It's going around a corner with 5 guys in front of you, 5 guys around you, 5 guys behind you at 60k an hour, and everyone's talking to each other. Some guys even got one hand on the handlebar. Here I am holding on like all hell, thinking, shit, I'm going to crash in this corner. Whereas these guys are so relaxed and so upskilled on it. And I feel in South Africa, the riders don't have that. And with a lot of the juniors and the 17s, when they go overseas, they get a big PK because they don't have that skill. Yeah, and there's minimal opportunities for them to actually learn that. So that is one of the big driving forces for me, is to upskill our youngsters so that when they do get international exposure, they are at least on a sort of level, as opposed to riding a 100k fun ride out in the bushes where you learn absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and it's just hanging on for as long as you can and trying not to get distracted. Keep your focus for as long as you possibly can. So going on to the next section, it's our course and the challenge that exists in it. Let's talk a little bit about the Steyn City circuit. 1.36, 1.37 kilometers per lap, about 36 meters vertical ascent per lap. And that's a massive amount. What makes this particular route unique and technically demanding?
Well, I think number one, let's start there. What makes this route unique? I know you've been putting out videos on all the different socials, and I hope the guys have watched it. I think the first thing that stands out to me, number one, look at the quality of the road. Number two, the corners are clean. When I say they're clean, they're flowing corners. You don't have obstructions getting in your way. It's a clean flowing circuit. Yes, there are the turn at the bottom of the circuit is going to require braking and good amount of
Yep.
skill to get
You're going
through
to
it.
have
But
some technical skills there, definitely.
yeah, nice wide open roads, big wide open surface. Man, I think it's absolutely brilliant. When the riders get to have a look at it on the practice rounds, they understand what we're bragging about.
Yeah, and talking about the practice days, that'll be set up from, I think it's going to be 12 o'clock on the Friday. We'll have a session open early in the morning before racing starts on Saturday and Sunday, and at the end of racing on the Saturday for 1 hour each of those. So for the pros who are racing on the Sunday, they can come and cheer on the kids who are racing on Saturday. They can do a bit of practice before, maybe go out for a training ride, come back, have a Seattle coffee, because they're going to be there at the Steyn City location for us, but an opportunity for them to get comfortable with the circuit if they need to. And we do encourage that as well, because that descent is, I think the person who's first onto the descent from my side is going to be the person who's going to be first through the corner at the bottom of the descent, which is going to be the first person onto the climb, which is going to be when you're 6 or 7 riders back, you're already 40 meters behind on the beginning of that ascent. And that's going to be a massive difference. And if I was a fit fighting cyclist, I would definitely look for that advantage on the top end of the circuit before we hit the descent. Yeah, I think there may be a few guys, Jeremy, you're going to have to see how it goes, but that'll take a chance on that descent first time round. Inevitably in cycling, there is the occasional crash. We don't want crashing, but put a bunch of guys together on bicycles, someone's going to do something stupid at some point. But I think 3 laps in, that's all going to be sorted out.
Yeah, I think
it's going to be sorted out.
With any shorter criterium like this, the first 10 minutes are always the most intense. There's so many riders, everyone's vying for position. The race will settle down, and then you'll start seeing the tactics come into play there. I think what we've been doing at Eastside Crits the last couple of years, we've kind of been getting people familiar and riders familiar with the concept of criterium racing. So it's not just this alien concept where riders
and you've done an incredible job with it as well. You have educated the guys. The guys know their tactics. They talk about it before the race starts. They know there's almost like chapters develop in a race. And you get this starting chapter where everyone's legs are fresh and it's chaotic starts and pushing each other around. And the strong guys have to fight for their position for a little while. And then it starts to settle down. Then the big attack guys start to come out. And then a separation occurs. And now you've got the guys who are of a certain capability and another capability. And they settle down for their own little races. So the guys know this.
And I think, Steve, another important thing here, and again, I'm going to harp on this, from a bike racing perspective, a lot of the races in Europe that are not at the Tour de France, we all watch the Tour de France, the Giro, the big races. We see big wide open roads. Oh, fantastic. That's the way it should be. Yes, that is the way that it should be. But that is only at the really top end of the sport. A lot of the other take a level or two down, but more than that. A lot of the guys are racing circuit racing. So that's where everything starts.
You just have to speak to any of our guys racing overseas. They'll tell you exactly that. Yeah.
Well, we on our video chats, we speak about Blaine Kick almost weekly, and almost every week I get a hold of him. He says he's got another circuit race. He's had another circuit race. For all of those who are listening here, you want to get an inside Blaine Kick, I'm pretty sure you'd be at the race, either riding or coming to watch. Go have a chat to him. He'll give you first-hand view of what this race, of what it actually is about. I mean, 1.3 Ks. I mean, I had a video chat with Christian Klopper. It was 2 years ago when he was in France. His first race was a 90-kilometer road race on a 1.5 K lap. So it's not like it's this thing, oh God, no, we can't do this. It happens all the time. And it's just that it's not as broadcast as what the Tour de France is, as what the Giro d'Italia is. But that is what reality is in bike racing.
Yeah. So talking a little bit more about the course, how did you approach the course design and safety planning? And what factors go into making a criterium both exciting and secure for riders and spectators? I'm just going to add my caveat in that one. I said, love this circuit. I showed it to you. And you gave me immediately, you went rider safety. And then you went tactical. And you discussed it through almost on your own. and then you went, I think this is going to be a good circuit. So give me your insight. What are those thought processes? How do those gears work in your head when you look at a circuit and you approach it for Criterium Racing? You know, what could be improved out of this circuit?
You can always improve things. You can take the circuit that we're using now and you can cut it to pieces and you can improve. But then you go, where do you draw the line? When is it perfect? I think you've also got a balance here between spectator and bike racing. I joke about this all the time. Bike racers are show ponies. If there's a village, the music is playing, the people are cheering,
They
guys
must
are
be
going to
showing
love
off.
it.
Yeah,
We raced,
I
we
agree.
know what it's like. There's people, hey, look at me. It's going to be something special. The
Yeah,
facility that we have, the environment that we have there, this is going to be something really, really, really special. The
yeah,
circuit is good. Straight, left, left, up, straight, left, right. Awesome. I can't complain. There is a golf cart speed hump, if you want to call it that. I'm not even going
yeah,
to go as far as saying it as a speed hump. When the riders cross the finish line, hang a left, it's not too far off the left. So the speed will be down. Or the speed won't. You won't be going over that 60k an hour. You'll get over that
yeah,
easily. On the way up, just before, just after the finish line, also the speed won't be up. You get over that thing, no problem at all. No problem at
yeah.
all.
Yeah, those are really the only things. And those were the queries you put in straight away. You said, "What? Can we move this?" And we said, "No." And he said, "Well, it's not very high. It's not going to be a major problem. And it is at the top of the hill. It's not a major issue for the guys. Happy with it." So, yeah. We spoke a little bit about the tactics, but I've got the question down here. We might as well go into it again. What can riders expect in terms of tactics? Are there specific skills or strategies that make a difference on this type of course?
I think we touched on it a couple of questions ago that in a criterium race or closed circuit race, the most important part is always the first 10 minutes. Everybody wants to jostle position. Everybody knows it's fast. The race inevitably ends up splitting, and nobody wants to be on the back end of the split. Everybody wants to be in the front. Once the
Yeah,
race does settle down, if there are teams that do have numbers, they're going to race. They're either going to want to race for a sprint, meaning they'll control everything. You're going to have certain teams that are going to want to force splits in the race, meaning they put their strongest riders into the break. You're going to have individual riders. I know Tyler Langer's coming up, current Cape Town Cycle Tour winner. I'm pretty sure he's going to want to cause a split with the stronger riders, and he would prefer to sprint from a group of 5 to 7 than going to the sprint with a group of 20 or 25 where there's multiple team members there. So I think
yeah,
we're going to see different teams, like a team like Tsunolo, probably the most dominant team in South African road cycling, especially up here in the north so far this year. They've got a strong team. They've got depth, and for sure they're going to use that. I'm going to use another example here.
tactically they
Yeah,
they are disciplined. They are properly disciplined. Every race I've been properly impressed with them. When it's time, you can see their tactics come together. And in fact, I say to everyone listening, go and watch them in a race. You'll see their tactics roll out. You'll see them communicating with each other. Next thing, you'll see 3 or 4 of their riders on the front, and that I dig the clothing they wear, beautifully put together. But it's like a bit of poetry watching it. And they take it on like a solid little unit. They've got riders of capability, and they just fire their guns. And I think they're going to be a big threat to anybody out there.
yeah. And I think you can definitely see the experience of a Reinhard Janssen van Rensburg. He gets the guys together. I see a lot. I see
Yeah,
that they do train often together. They obviously got their specific tactics that they work on. But if you got a guy like Reinhard Janssen van Rensburg, I would imagine he's the guy calling the shots. And the guys trust in him, the guys believe in him, and the shots he's been calling
mm,
this year have worked out well. They've won a lot of races. I think going into SA Crit Champs with the strength and numbers that they have, they are going to be a big force. But then in the same breath, you've got a lot of individuals. You've got the likes of Tiano de Silva that's coming up, Tyler Langer's coming up. There's going to be more guys that in the next two
yeah.
and a half weeks that put their name in the hat.
I
Yeah,
think,
it's the
and
first 50 minutes is going to be lightning.
it's going to be chaos. And I think it's a circuit that does lend itself to individuals interfering in that racing, because if you get that cornering right and you get the tactics right, you could be approaching each of the climbs with a great advantage over a team. So there is opportunity for sitting wheel and getting a drift off someone else, getting that slipstream off them. But the circuit is actually so hard. It's going to be it's going to be one that's the strongest rider definitely is going to be at the front. That's what's going to happen. The strongest rider, the most on form, the most efficient around the corners, the most efficient with the repeated accelerations. That's going to be your rider at the front of the race at the end of the day. And you mentioning names, I think you're exactly right with the names that are going to be affecting the racing at the front end there. It's definitely going to be a big event. Talking about it, we mentioned all the men at the moment, but the ladies as well. Local team dominance generally at your criteriums are the Cycle Nation ladies, but challenging them all the time. There's quite a few names to mention, and then we mentioned we don't know who of the international are going to be coming through, but we've had a lot of ladies racing internationally with proper capabilities.
Hoping that Sonara Grove will be able to make it, but I know that she is also going to be busy with Wines to Wales. But the current South African elite women's road race champion, I think this type of racing definitely is right up her alley. She could do well if she could decide to come. But then also on the flip side of that, the Cycle Nation, Lisa Bone, she did a very, very good year this far. She actually is currently leading the Mzansi series. She won a provincial Criterium Champs a few weeks ago. Of the local ladies, she's definitely, I would say, one of the favorites. The Tsornolo ladies, you've got a good mixed bag there. If some of our international ladies do come and want to throw a span in the works, they will be strong, but I don't think they'll be greeted by a walkover crowd. The local ladies are going to push back.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's going to be, because of that style of circuit, the harder altitude per lap, that vertical ascent, that's going to make it properly difficult. It's not going to be an easy ride. There's no free meters of rolling road on there. I mean, at every point, there's something tactical that's happening on the circuit that's going to make it hard. So negative racing is not going to, I don't think it's going to be a factor in this race. I think this is going to be about who's going to take it by the scruff of the neck and shake it around.
100%. 100%. We're going to have So I like what you said there. There's no free meters. Chasing to get back or chasing to ride the riders out the race. Yeah, you're right there. There's no free meters in this course.
There's no free meter. Or you're chasing to get to the next corner, because if you don't get in there in the top couple of positions, you're going to be in trouble. And then you're going to spend a couple of laps trying to close it back up again. The riders who take it on positively from the beginning are going to be the ones who are going to get rewarded. Those who are going to sit back at the back of the bunch, after a while, they're going to find that the front of the bunch is going to be sniffing their backside very quickly. That circuit is going to close down on people quickly. Anyway, let's go into the next section of discussion, our development in the Gauteng Schools Criterium Championships, a cool little initiative. Saturday features the inaugural Gauteng School Cycling Criterium Champs. Why is it important to introduce youth riders to criterium racing at a provincial level?
Again, I touched on it earlier. South African road cycling is where it is, and it's not in a great condition. And there's many factors that have resulted to getting us to where we are. The school cycling has done a phenomenal job. Turbius and his team have really elevated the sport. There's a lot of good things coming through there. We've had multiple world champions coming through that system, and guys that are competing internationally and performing well. I'm talking from a perspective of elite racing. I think it's important that the riders that are doing the XCC and the XCO see that there is something else. There is an alternative, and it is in a safe, controlled environment. I mean, we spoke about this almost daily, that any parent wouldn't want to take their child to a mass participation event and say, there you go, just go out on the roads and follow the leaders of the group, and then I'll be waiting for you to come back. At least in this situation, it's following the same principles of the XCO and the XCC stuff, that you, as a spectator parent, get to see your child coming past every couple of minutes, and you aren't throwing them to the wolves out there on the wild roads. And I think it's also for the riders. And I think the riders for themselves can see that there is a different format, a different discipline of racing.
Of road racing, yeah. And you also get to be that armchair supporter on the sideline. We get to tell them what to do. We're not the ones breathing through our ears, trying to keep up with the front end of the bunch. We're on the sideline going, move up, because they can. I love it. All us dads on the sideline telling our kids what to do, and our kids are like with their maximum heart rate at their limit, trying to hang on to kids who are stronger. And yeah, it's brilliant. But those learning opportunities for every single one of them. From your perspective, what kind of rider does this format develop, and how can schools and clubs prepare young athletes for it?
I think on the road side, what type of rider does it favor? You've got to be a mixed bag. You've got to be able to sprint well. You've got to be able to time trial well, because it's 3, 2, 1, go. Your heart rate's going to be in your mouth. You need to be able to sustain that effort. If you're a very fast rider sprinter, you need to get your fitness levels up, because it's not roll around and have a laugh and a joke and only sprint at the end.
Free ride, yeah.
It's a hard race, so you need to be well balanced. Threshold ability, good time trialing abilities, good sprinting abilities, tactical awareness, and good skills. So it favors a all-round bicycle racer.
Yeah.
It's a short answer to it. We can discuss this for hours on end, the different types of characteristics rider. But again, in a nutshell, you need to be an all-round bike racer.
And the coaching side of it is relatively easy to manage, because and like you've managed lots of the what do you call it, intro to track racing, and all the skills required for road racing are in something like that. And those coaches could, like, I'm sure they could knock on your door and sign up to do one of those courses with you, and then roll that out in their school environment if they wanted to, because it's about the cornering, it's about positioning of the bike, it's about positioning of riders, it's about knowing, when I say positioning of riders, you've got to be aware that a rider may end up elbow to elbow with you on the side, or you may end up with your front wheel and their back wheel close together. What are the dangers around that? How do you avoid those things? Those are things that like the coaches could learn. So each of those schools could do a bit of coaching for those athletes.
Yeah, it's again, I'm going to go back to, I'm harping on my technical elite racing side. When the riders do go race in Europe, that is always the first thing. The riders go, yes, wow, these guys are so fast, they're so technical. And in South Africa, there's not enough exposure to that. So the more that we can expose the younger riders to that, the more they can get upskilled, the more they'll adapt a lot quicker when they do get to that high level.
That level. So how do you see this event fitting into a broader talent pipeline for South African cycling?
Again, a very broad question, but simply put, going back to my answer just now, the riders that are going to perform well here, these are going to be complete riders. They're going to be tactically aware, highly skilled, have a very strong base, very strong engine, be able to ride at 90% your heart rate for half an hour, and still be able to think, and still be able to sprint at critical points. So again, I think it's going to expose a lot of good riders to a different format of racing, a different style of racing. And as a bike racing fan and a person who's always trying to push the sport forward, I'm hoping to see a lot of talent that we wouldn't normally see, and we can harness them and push them like we become world champs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like that little bridge between the school's racing environment, which gives them a huge amount. It like prepares them incredibly well, and got this massive community of these developing youngsters from the school's environment coming up.
Yeah.
And now they got the opportunity to race at that high level. Just takes them one level up in terms of Criterium Racing. And it does bring them closer to what, in essence, if you're going to make a career out of cycling or be able to be competitive in international cycling, you're going to have to know these skills anyway. So the quicker you get into it, the quicker you learn from it, the easier it's going to be when you go overseas to be able to integrate.
Definitely,
so,
100%.
Jeremy, on to the next chapter, section 4, the national championships and competitive spirit. Next question. The Sunday event crowns the South African Criterium champions. How significant is that title? And what kind of field are you expecting to line up for that event?
I'm going to use an example here. This is Reynard, forgive me if I'm wrong. I think it was 2 years ago when South African champs were in Oudtshoorn, and Reynard lined up for the Criterium. A lot of people looked at him and were like, what the hell are you doing? Because Criterium was seen as, it's that gingerhead stepchild in the corner that nobody wants to do. Reynard won the event. And
Sorry, gingerhead people.
He did that strategically because he went and raced in the US. The team he rode for, they were a Criterium specific team. And if you got the national championship jersey, I'm sure it earned him a couple of
Got the
extra bucks.
stripes.
It earned him prestige, earned him access into these races. If you are a bike racer carrying any national championship jersey, it does bring prestige to it. It does bring value to you. It does add value to your career. So if you can be a national champion, man, it's a significant badge of honor to have.
Yeah, absolutely. What qualities separate a good criterium racer? And we've spoken about this the whole way through, and a great one. What's the difference? You spoke a little bit around Reynard there, and he had the strategic awareness that he's going to be racing criteriums in America, and then criteriums he gets to wear the national jersey if he's a national champion. He's got a game plan bigger than just winning one race. But what separates those good criterium racers from the great ones? What makes those guys that go off the front and win races as opposed to the guys who are just participating? When I say this, I mean every single one of the riders at the top end of a criterium field are insanely good. But what's the separation?
It's that will to win. It's the will to put yourself out there. We spoke about this before we came on. I'm going to mention a rider purely just for the sake of just to an illustrative point. Brendan Avenga, he's done really well at Eastside Crits throughout this year. Brendan, last year SA Crit Champs, he really put his name out there. He went for the win, got caught in the last lap. Now, what personifies Brendan to me, I know him quite well. I coach him. He's the kind of guy that never say die. If his heart explodes, well, so
he's going to carry on for another couple of kilometers afterwards.
Exactly. He puts himself out there. His criterium performances and his road racing performances don't quite match up in the sense that he performs really well in criteriums. And then you ask yourself the question, why? Why does he do that? And I just sit down and I think it's the will to win. It's the will to go harder, to push yourself further, to go for that win. That for me sums up a criterium rider.
Yeah, I saw that in your last criterium as well. He was out there mixing it up with the front end of the race. And the only reason he didn't get the potential to the win was a puncture on the last lap on the furthest end of the circuit. The guy was so unlucky. Yeah. But he's in there. He's working his game plan. He's working his strategy. But he has got some tough competition. We know that Emil, current champion, also just, you can talk about his strategy, his logic, his never give in, never die attitude to his racing as well.
Yeah. Emil, he comes to, whenever he's in South Africa, he jumps into Eastside Crits, and whenever he rides, he inevitably either wins it or is on the podium. And you can just see by the way he rides, he's strategic. At Eastside Crits, we run a points race criteria, meaning intermediate sprints along the way, and points are awarded for those sprints on first, second, and third riders. And he's very strategic. Yeah, he knows who's a threat, what he needs to do to get more points. So yeah, I like that format because it encourages riders to think and they have to play strategically and know where to dish out your effort.
So knowing about this, we're trying to put on an event technically for these guys so that there's an entertaining race. But how do you balance this elite level racing with making the event exciting for the spectators and families on the sideline?
I gave you an example a little bit earlier, and I'm going to give the people something to stew on. I think everybody knows now about Live Golf and what it does. That's with this format of racing, you have the opportunity to create that type of environment. I just think about something. It was 2 years ago, the SA Crit Champs, they actually postponed it because there wasn't enough interest. And for me, that's a great shame. But if you go back and rethink things and the approach of things, a criterium is it's a party, it's a festival. People want to come watch the event. If you make it a party festival, it's going to be the best thing ever. Obviously, I am biased. I love watching bike racing. I can watch it on the TV 8 days a week if I could. But if I'm coming to watch a bike race, I'm rather going to watch something that's a short race, party atmosphere, loud music, people going flat out. I mean, that's awesome. And again, riders are show ponies. Riders want to be in that environment. It's amazing.
And so from my perspective, I'm going to add a little bit as well. my day job is MC at sports events, mostly cycling and running events. And I'm always looking for the storyline that makes the event exciting. So it's not just that there's a bike race on. It's that there's a developing storyline with nuances of multiple little storylines developing over time. And over time, you start to get eventually one person at the top with a second and a third. But the development of that story in the beginning is like you got 20 players in there that are mixing it up and you don't know who's who and what their positions are. And over time, that storyline comes together. But we're going to have amazing sound set up. We're going to have the commentary there. We're going to have the live streaming, lots of nuances of planning that goes into this. And I think the bottom line, like you said, it's about the spectator experience. We're showing off our best show ponies. The show ponies get the opportunity to prance around. They get to show off their manes and how cool their tail looks and what the musculature is like and how fast they can go around a corner. And if they get it right, they get to don a jersey. They get to don a title, which is really cool. So we're going to have titles on Saturday for the school kids, the first ever Gauteng schools cycling Criterium Championship titles. And then on the Sunday will be the SA Criterium Championship titles. So they get to don those stripes as well. So I think it's going to be a really cool event. And it's going to make a massive day for everyone. So even those racing early in the morning, they must hang out for the rest of the day because there's just going to be entertainment the whole day long by our show ponies. And it's going to end up with the elite women and then the elite men at the end of the day. So 2 sets of amazing bits of racing. My next section, section 5, this is the second to last of the sections for the day. Community sponsors and vision. The event now carries the name, the 226s South African Criterium Festival, hosted by Steyn City. What does this partnership mean to you as an organizer?
Well, 226s has stepped in and they've helped make a lot of the things we've been listing above possible. You know, the whole idea with this is to create an experience like no other. The live streaming thing, unfortunately, this year, the Ride Joburg is not going to have any broadcasting. So there won't be any live streaming or live coverage of the race. The only live race or live stream race that is currently this year is the Cape Town Cycle Tour. So we sat down, we spoke about this a lot, and I think it is so important that we do have this live streaming facility so that if you do live in Papua New Guinea and you're there at work and your friends are racing on Sunday, you can tune the race and you can watch it. You can watch it. I think it's so important to raise the profile of the sport that we love so much that we have this available. And with our sponsors, this would not be able to happen. And thanks to the good people at 226s to help us get on the way with this.
Yeah, and then Steyn City, what an amazing location to have, but they're more than a location, they're an actual sponsor as well. And you were speaking earlier about like that live golf concept. They're hosting incredible events at Steyn City. They understand the value of community. They understand the value of sport, of facilities. I mean, the cycling events that have been hosted already at Steyn City, you mentioned the schools events, high schools and primary schools. They've got an XCO course there. They've got world-class equestrian facilities there. They've got the Live Golf event happening. I mean, they are a golf estate. It's one of the best golf courses in the world. And they're having an edition of the Live Golf event there. And now we're going to have the SA Criterium Champs and Gauteng School Cycling Criterium Champs. It's just, what a location to be able to have a race. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and you know the location. We've said so much, and we can go on and on and on, and it's all justified. But also, it takes a special team behind that. Richard has been fantastic from Steyn City side. He's helped make a lot of things go through. Louise has helped a lot of things get through for us. You know, it's all good and well having this fantastic facility, but if you don't have people that are willing to work with and make this thing happen, it doesn't mean a lot. And they really understand and they're really behind it. And it's awesome to work with a team that have the same vision as what we do.
Yeah, it is amazing to work with them because when you understand the roles they have in their daily life and how professional they have to be, and then they're there supporting a little bicycle race. We say a little bicycle race. We think it's turning into an amazing festival of cycling. But they got events like the the premier, by the looks of it, premier cross triathlon happening there, the Auto and General X Tri. That event is sold out. I think it's in like hours. It's sold out as an event. The guys just can't get entries because they can't have millions and millions of people participating. But it is the premier cross tri event, and that's because of what they deliver. They deliver a world-class experience, a world-class facility, and they do it because of people like Louise, Zoe, Richard. They've been amazing. So big thank you to them as well. So I just realized now, and they're not related. Carl Mitchell and Richard Mitchell, unrelated, but didn't know that until I just said it now. Next question. Looking ahead, what's your long-term vision for Criterium Racing in South Africa? Could this become a cornerstone event on the national calendar? And I'm going to add in a little bit saying Mzansi series is part of this event as well.
Again, I want to put my bike racers cap on here. The road racing scene in South Africa is not in a great space. There's many factors contributing to this, but I think instead of sitting somewhere and saying, "Oh, what about this? You should this and you should that," I think with the team that we've got here, all of us are like-minded people. We'd rather say, let's roll up our sleeves and let's do something about it. And I think living where we live in South Africa, you have to work within your limitations. I think closed circuit racing for the sport of bike racing has to form an integral part, if not a major part of road racing going forward. Yeah, it's just lucky that we could have such an amazing event to kickstart the awareness and build on this so that all those youngsters that we see coming through the ranks, when they do go over to Europe and they do start their racing, be it on the XCO, XCC or road circuit, they are more upskilled, they are more familiar with the environment, and we can have another Alan Hatherleys, another Candice Lills, Louis Mankeys, Ryan Gibbons, Robert Hunter, Daryl Gibbons. If we can have more of those coming through, and if we can form part of the process of that building path, this is where I would like this to start going forward.
Yeah. And the opportunity exists for multiple parties to host criteriums all around the country. Maybe it does become a criterium series throughout the year. You know, it's an opportunity. We can definitely build on it as it goes. Now, that was question 13, 14, 15. God, we're going to closing now. Chapter 6. It's our closing of this. And question number 16 for you. You've answered 16 questions. Just, Jeremy, high five. Watch how. If you had one message for riders considering entering the race, what would it be?
What would it be? There's many messages, but the one common denominator, or the one thing that resonates with me, is that this is going to be an experience. It's going to be an incredible experience. Come race around in a nice, safe, controlled environment. Come be a show pony. Mix it up with some of the best riders in this country.
Cheer for you.
Yeah.
And we're going to be there cheering you on as well. Final question. And for the fans, why should they come watch this one live?
If you are a bike racing fan in South Africa, and if you want to watch a live bicycle race, that means you have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, drive to wherever the start is, stand there in the dark, and the sun comes up, you can see the bike races go, and then you stand around for 2 hours, kicking stones, having a coffee, talking to random people about random stuff. And then you see the lead car come in, you watch a sprint. If you're lucky enough, you go talk to the riders and get a handle of what's going on. And if you're very, very lucky, you'll get it shown on some of the mainstream broadcasters, and you get to see what happened. This instant, you can wake up in the morning, go train, go do what you need to do, spend time with your family, then come watch the bike race. Pack your umbrella, pack your camping chair, come watch the bike race and see how it unfolds. You're going to see the guys coming past you every 2 minutes. You can see how the race involves. You can feel the energy. You can feel the intensity. You can see the tactics playing out. It's going to be a high energy environment. People are going to be going crazy. I'm going to be going crazy. We're probably going to be losing our shit, but I'm really looking forward to this. Again, I've said it from the start, and this is going to be something very special and the first in many ways for South African road cycling, and come be part of this amazing event.
And on top of that, we got amazing support from Steyn City. So there's going to be a VIP marquee for their top-end residents who want to come and watch, plus any of the VIPs, our sponsors, and everyone else. The top-end race winners will get access to that as well. They're going to have the food vendors there as well, one of the restaurant suppliers. They're going to be there. Actually, the guy who owns the company is an ex-racer. He was a very good vets man. He used to win everything. I think I'm going to make him do a VIP stint in the lead vehicle in one of the races. We've got Seattle Coffee is going to be there serving. We're going to have the typical chip and dip and donuts vendors and things like that as well. And then, like we said, there's going to be a couple of the bike manufacturers bringing their products through as well, by the looks of it. So we wait for the confirmation. And then kit suppliers, nutrition by 226s, they're going to have a stand for the guys there to be able to talk to about race nutrition, about what products to take when and how. And like you said, the refinement of an athlete into being able to race a criterium well, you're getting to the top end of the sport. And that's where those little advantages make a big difference. So it is going to be a festive day. It's going to be an entertaining day. It's a beautiful location. They got grass verges cut all over the place for us. Space for the guys to bring gazebos to sit on the outside of the circuit if they want. Teams can book space on the inside of the race village. Vendors, if they're still interested, they can book space on the inside. And yeah, we're just looking forward to an incredible day. Looking forward to crowning a few new champions. Looking forward to cheering on our show ponies, our athletes. And I think it's going to be an incredible day. I've got to say quickly, a big thank you to our two key sponsors who made this event possible, 226ers and Steyn City. They've been absolutely incredible. And we are going to be putting out some news about some co-sponsors who look like they're coming on board as well. So it's going to be a good one. Jeremy, I think that about wraps it up. If there's anything else you want to say, I think I'll close it off.
I think we touched on everything.
Here we go.
We touched on everything we need to touch on. Yeah, I think in the coming weeks, we'll be doing videos talking about riders, who the favorites are, what to expect. We build a little bit of interest and fierce and vibe about this.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a good one. So that was Inside the Corners, a closer look at the art, speed, and strategy of Criterium Racing with race director Jeremy Maartens. The 226's South African Criterium Festival, hosted by Steyn City, takes place on the 1st and 2nd of November 2025. It's in a nice little window, by the way, where racing seems to go very, very quiet. It's featuring both the Gauteng Schools Criterium Provincial Championships and the South African National Criterium Championships on 2 consecutive days. It's going to be an incredible experience. Entries are open at mysportevents.co.za. Make sure you get those secured. And if you enjoyed this chat, make sure to follow Chronicles of Motion on YouTube. Maybe it's Bikecraft Performance you're seeing this on. Maybe it's Steve Saunders' channel. Follow all of them, and we look forward to sharing more news as it goes. Until next time, keep moving, keep learning, and keep your momentum. Jeremy, thank you.
Catch you later. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Cheers, guys.